happy Monday morning to everyone. If there is such a thing as a happy Monday morning, well, with Shotmatic, it makes Monday mornings a little bit better, hopefully. We are looking at Fenway Park as we have the Cleveland Indians taking on the Boston Red Sox. First game on the May 26th block. There are 4 games played this date. This is game 1 of those 4 games. Game number 298 on the full season replay count. And it is Cleveland and Boston. Cleveland comes in with a record of 18-26, Boston 17-26. Pitching for today, Al Nipper for the Red Sox, Greg Swindell for the Cleveland Indians. Nipper comes into the replay with a record of 4-4, Swindell record of 3-4. We are at Fenway Park, very hitter friendly. Singles are 1-19 for lefties. In fact, I'll show it to you on the ballpark effects chart. You can see it for yourself. Singles are 1-19 for lefties, 1-15 for righties. Home runs 1-7 for lefties, and home runs 1-10 for right-handers. So that is a very hitter-friendly Fenway Park that we'll be dealing with. Pitcher-catcher hole quotients, Al Nipper is a +4, and Mark Sullivan, the catcher, is a 0, so he is a +4. Swindell is a -3. Rick Dempsey's a +1 for a total -2. And in the real game, Boston beat Cleveland 6-5, real world. So we'll see what happens in this particular chance. Hello, Mr. Guterman. Good to see you. And, of course, we have tools of the trade. Have to have it. Can't go on without it. It's like American Express card. Don't leave home without it. And to borrow your phrase, that is some good coffee. All right, so Brett Butler will end up leading things off for the Tribe as they try to stay ahead of Boston. They're a half game ahead of Boston in the standings to stay out of last place. So they're fighting with the Orioles. Those 3 are kind of together trying to avoid the basement. All right, so here, let's get the full numbers on Nipper. On the replay, he's 4-4, 5.49 earned run average. Real world, he was 5.43, so we're right on the number, pretty accurate there. 57 innings pitched, 70 hits, 21 walks, 40 strikeouts. And Brett Butler stands in. He's hitting .411 on the replay, but he only has 95 at bats. He was injured for quite some time, so he does not have enough at bats to be eligible for the batting title. But he is leading the league right now. Other than that, with a .411 average, no homers, 7 driven in, he at 295 real world. And we're underway from Fenway Park. 3-10, and that's going to be a split chance. 1-7 is a single. 8-20 is a line out to second. Devil Die in early week form with a 2 produces a base hit for Brett Butler to extend the average even more. So Devil Die shows up early. And with that +4 for Nipper, Brett Butler is going to want to get a jump, get that good lead. So 2-8 or a 12 gets him the good lead. That's a 7, so that falls in the 2-8 category. So he obtains the good lead. He's a 15, being held as a 13, but then the +4 is a 17. The throwing error rating on Sullivan's a 4, so they'll go ahead and throw through. 1-17, Butler safe. And he's in there. Stolen base for Butler. And let's check out Mr. Butler and see what that is as far as stolen bases go. In real world, he stole 33 bases, got caught 16 times. With this stolen base, he has now stole 15 bases and gotten caught 6 times. So 15th stolen base for Brett Butler on the replay. Again, he stole 33 during the season. All right, that'll bring up Julio Franco, shortstop. Franco on the replay is hitting .297, 2 homers, 24 driven in, at 319 real world. That's a 4-7 for Nipper, and that's a 1-17 single. That's a base hit, but it's only a 1 star. So Butler will stop at third. Runners on the corners, nobody out, and Nipper is in serious trouble. Franco, to get the lead, needs a 2-5. And again, they're going to be running on Nipper with that +4. But he does not get the lead, so he will hold. And here's Pat Tabler. Pat Tabler filling the role of the designated hitter in this one. He's hitting 350 on the replay, 4 homers, 26 driven in, hit 307 real world. Infield for Boston is back. They need outs. They'll trade the run to get 2 outs. 3-7, and that's a strikeout. So that's a big strikeout for Nipper. And now a double play would get him out of the inning with the definitely struggling Joe Carter back at first base in this one. But Joe Carter really struggling on the replay, hitting a 179, 7 homers, 13 driven in. And, of course, he hit 264 real world with 32 home runs. So really, really struggling here. But the infield looking for that double play to possibly get him out of the inning. That's a 5-10, but instead it's a ballpark blast. It's a 1-10, and that's a 4. Joe Carter just went deep. There it is, 5-10, ballpark blast. Fenway Park 1-10. As you saw earlier when I brought out the ballpark effects for 1987, Boston home runs 1-10 for right-handers. Double dies a 4. So that's a 3-run home run for Joe Carter. Talk about a way to get out of a slump. He just did it. Maybe it took coming to Fenway Park to help him. I don't know. But a 3-run home run from Joe Carter. Home run number 8. RBIs 14, 15, and 16. And Cleveland jumps to a 3-0 lead here in the top of the first. No doubter on that one. Hello, Tim. Good to see you. Hello, Dr. D. So a 3-run homer from Carter as he breaks out of the slump courtesy of Fenway Park and Al Nipper. That'll bring up Mel Hall. Hall hitting 307 on the replay, 5 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 290 real world. 280 real world. 410, lefty. 410's a ballpark single check. We know Fenway is going to give up the singles, plus the double dies. That's in rare. I mean, it's in midweek form already. The double die has. That thing's been coming up at 4 or less for the last couple of rolls here. So Hall is aboard. He will not be held. That'll bring up Brooke Jacoby. Jacoby on the replay is hitting 331, 6 homers, 24 driven in. He had even 300 real world. 112, that's a fly ball center field A. So since it's an A, that's going to advance the runner. Hall will tag from first and go to second base. You don't see that very often, but obviously fly balls that he produced did that in real world, and that's how Stratomatic rated them. Another reason why Stratomatic is the best because of their ratings, because I don't know of any other game company that has a play like that where a ball will advance the runner from first to second on a fly to center because it's so deep. And not just anybody doing it, but specifically the guy who's responsible for doing that. He's rated that way. So again, their player ratings go into making this, the best game in my opinion. All right, here's Corey Snyder. He's hitting 238 on the replay, 6 homers, 20 driven in. He had 236 real world. 2 outs, runner at second and Hall now. Since he advanced, this is now a clutch situation. And in the clutch, Corey Snyder loses hits on 1-9 and 110. So got to be cognizant of that. 1-9 and 110 are anti-clutch. But that's a 3-8, and that's a strike. Oh, boy, 3-9 would have been a home run, or a chance at a home run anyway. 3-8, though, is a strikeout. So through all that mess, Nipper does strike out too. But Cleveland gets on the board courtesy of a Joe Carter 3-run homer. And we go to the bottom of the first. It's Cleveland 3, Boston coming to bat. And Greg Swindell has been given a 3-0 lead to work with. Pretty good if you're the visiting pitcher to come out for your first pitch and already be up 3-0. So Swindell on the replay is 3-4. ERA of 3.74. Real world, he was 5.10 ERA with a 3-8 record. So he's doing much better on the replay. 67 innings pitched, 56 hits, 31 walks, 58 strikeouts. And Ellis Burks will lead things off. Burks is hitting 226 on the replay. 3 homers, 9 driven in. He hit 220. He hit 272 real world. Against the lefty Swindell, and that's a leadoff walk for Burks. Not what you want if you're Swindell. You got a 3-0 lead. Last thing you want to do is start walking people. A 5 or a 6 is what Burks needs to get the lead. It would be a -2, though, there. he does get the lead. He does not, so it's a moot point. Hello, Bart. Good to see you. Happy Monday to you. All right, Marty Barrett, your batter. He's hitting 284 on the replay. No homers, 7 driven in. Hit 293 in the real season. That's 210, and that's going to be a ballpark single check. It is 1-15, and of course, double die comes up single digits again, like clockwork, and that's a base hit. First and second, nobody out. Back come the Red Sox, and here's Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs doing Wade Boggs things. He's hitting 337 on the replay, 9 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 363 real world. So he's actually a little bit down compared to his average. Lefty on lefty matchup, 2-6, and that's a single to center field. We'll see if Burks is going to score without a throw, actually. They're going to hold Barrett at second base by not throwing through. So with him being a 17, not being held, being an 18, Butler's zero armed, the chances of throwing him out and then letting Barrett go to third, they don't want to do that. So they'll just throw it into the cutoff man. Scoring is Burks. Holding up at second is Barrett. Boggs is on at first with an RBI single. It's now a 3-1 game. Still nobody out for Jim Rice, but the double play's in order, and you don't have to trade a double play for an out. If you throw through to the plate, Barrett's going to take third, and you're just looking for trouble. So, relinquish the one run, and if you're Cleveland, hope that's all they get. All right, here's Jim Rice hitting 319 on the replay, 3 homers, 19 driven in at 277 real world. It's a 1-6, and he's going to strike him out. So Swindell comes back with a strikeout. Now a double play gets you out of the inning for Don Baylor. Baylor on the replay hitting 241, 5 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 245 real world. That's a 5-8 right-handed. That's another strikeout for Swindell. Swindell riding the ship here in the bottom of the first. Now it's all up to Bill Buckner for the Red Sox. Lefty on lefty matchup. Buckner on the replay hitting 252. 3 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 286 real world. Lefty on lefty matchup. 2-9. And that's a pop out to third. And boy, Swindell got out of it big time. The one run does come in, but that's all they get. And at the end of one, it is Cleveland 3 and Boston 1. Quite a job there by Swindell to get out of that. Programming note for those that weren't aware, just to make you aware, in case you are curious or care. And that is starting tomorrow night, roughly about 8:30. We're going to have Saturday was the last game of the NBC Game of the Week in season ticket baseball, but we are going to play the 1978 World Series in season ticket baseball. Game 1 will be tomorrow night around 8:30. It'll be the Dodgers and the Yankees from Dodger Stadium. Ed Figueroa versus Tommy John. That'll be your pitching matchup. Game 1, I'm going to play the whole. It went 6 games. So I'll use the as-played lineups unless we get to Game 7. If we get to Game 7, obviously, there was no Game 7 real world. So I'll just probably, figure out what they, try to determine what they might have done by virtue of maybe who the Game 4 starter was or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that's coming up tomorrow night at roughly 8:30. All right. That's just a side note. So, wait a minute, something's going on here. What did I not put in there correctly on the computer? Because it's not giving, I got to undo something here. Okay. That's what I got to do. For some reason, I gave Baylor got on first base, and I don't know how. Gave him a single instead of hitting the strikeout. When you're doing the strat computer to get strikeout, you got to hit S 4 times. Apparently, I only hit it 3 times for a single. It wasn't paying attention, so. Baylor did strike out, and Buckner did pop to third, which means Tony Bernazard on the computer is now leading off as he should be. So Tony Bernazard will lead things off for the Tribe here in the top of the second. On the replay, hitting 228, 6 homers, 25 driven in. He at 250 real world between Cleveland, and later on, he will be traded to Oakland later in the season. 5-5, switch hitter batting left, and that is a line out to first base. So Buckner snags it. One down for the number 9 hitter, Rick Dempsey, the catcher. He's hitting 221 on the replay, a homer and 11 driven in. He only hit 177 real world. It's a 1-5, and he's going to strike out number 3 for Mr. Nipper. Strikeout number 3 for Mr. Nipper. And here's Brett Butler. Back at it. He singled, stole second, and scored. Pretty much what you want to do for a leadoff hitter. 4-9, and that's a pop out to first. So Buckner's got that too. And it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Al Nipper. See if he can right the ship, as Swindell seems to have done in the previous inning. The bottom of the second, still 3-1. And Dave Henderson will lead off and right. Like I said, I still don't know what's going on with Dwight Evans. He hasn't played for about 3 or 4 games in a row now, but he's on the roster. So I don't know if he's got a nagging injury or what's going on, but he just hasn't played. So I don't know if any Red Sox aficionados out there know exactly what was happening in 1987 as to why he wasn't playing. But whatever the case, Henderson will lead off. He's hitting 223, 7 homers, 20 driven in. He at 234 real world. 6-11, and that's a ballpark single check. It's 1-15, and Devil Die again. But it's just like clockwork. You can count on it, single digits. All right, so leadoff single for Hindu. He will not be held. And that'll bring up Mark Sullivan. He's a number 8 hitter, rather. Hitting 185 on the replay, a homer and 9 driven in. He at 169 real world. So a little bit better than what he was in real world, but not much. Swindell to Sullivan, 6-6, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Swindell. I'll bring up the number 9 man, Spike Owen. Owen, the shortstop, hitting a $194 on the replay, homer and 3 driven in. He at 259 real world. So he's off to a slow start, as they say. 6-2, switch hitter batting right-handed. Ground ball second base C, so that'll be a ground out, but Henderson will take second base on the ground out. But now there are 2 away, and it's going to be all up to Ellis Burks to get the run home in a clutch situation. Ellis Burks against lefties. You can look at his column right here, 1-8, 1-9, and 1-10. He loses hits on all 3 of those. And for good measure, he loses hits on 210 and 312. So you talk about anti-clutch. Ellis Burks is anti-clutch. Hey, Joe. Good to see you. 4-11 for Swindell, and that's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Joe Carter. He's a 3E24. First X chance of the game, 3E24. 3-6. Devil Die still coming up single digits. But Carter still may get to this. 3-6 is a G3 pound, but he's not holding anybody on, so the pound is irrelevant. It's a G3. That's a 10, and he is an E24. E24, there's an 11, 12, 13, 14, but no 10. So Carter will make the play and flip to Swindell covering to retire the side. So at the end of 2, it is Cleveland 3 and Boston 1. Top of the third we go. And Julio Franco, your leadoff man. Franco singled in that 3-run first inning prior to the home run from Carter. That's a 6-4 right-handed, and that's a catcher X. Catcher X. We are looking at we're looking at Sullivan, 3E1. 3-16 should be some sort of pop out, I imagine. 3-16 is a foul out. There you go. That's interesting. That's a 17. He's only an E1, but that 17 might be the error, and it is. How do you like that? He's an E1 catcher. The only way he can make an error is on a 17, and what do we roll but a 17? Go figure. So it's an FO with an error. So we come over here. Catcher drops a foul pop for an error. Play resumes with the same batter at the plate. So there we go. So that means that Franco will get a swing on the house. Hey Jeremiah, good to see you. 111 for Franco, and that's a ground ball right back to Nipper. So the error does not come into play as Franco is retired. So here's Tabler. Struck out his first chance. That's a 5-6, and he'll strike out again. That is the third strikeout for Nipper. Nipper has now retired 7 in a row. But here's Joe Carter. He hit the 3-run homer. 3-run homer his first time up. 2-7 against the right-hander, but he will strike out here. Boy, Nipper's really turned it around as he strikes out Carter to end the inning. Go to the bottom of the third, still 3-1 Cleveland here at Fenway Park. Swindell will be facing Barrett, Boggs, and Rice. Part of the order for the Red Sox, 2, 3, 4 hitters. Barrett, his first time up, single. That's a 111 against a lefty. That's a ballpark single. 1-15. That's a 13, so it fits. Base hit. Fenway Park, very generous with their base hits. Marty Barrett, to get the lead, needs a 4. Does not get it, so he will hold. And here's Wade Boggs. 6'11", lefty. And that's a ballpark single. You know that's going to work. That's a 19, and that's a 19, so it fit right in there. Fenway Park coming through with some base hits. First and second, nobody out. And here comes Jim Rice. Rice struck out his first chance. 2-2, and that's a split chance. 1-18 is a single. That's a base hit. 1 star. The bases are loaded. Nobody out. Back come the Red Sox. Here's Don Baylor. Cleveland will play back for the double play. They need outs. That's a 5-6. They get a strikeout from Swindell. That's a big strikeout to get. Strikeout number 4. Now a double play would get him out of the inning with no runs allowed. Buckner is your batter. Billy Buck. 2-8. And that's a line out to short, so the out is recorded with no runner advancement. Swindell looking to do his Houdini act again to get out of further damage, just like he did in the first inning. So here's Dave Henderson. He singled his first time up. Now the infield's all back to normal with 2 outs. A clutch situation for Henderson. And according to this, he loses a hit on 1-2. Everything else he's neutral. That's a 3-4, and that's a ground ball to short, and Swindell will pull it off. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Red Sox cannot score. A strikeout, a line out, and a ground out takes care of business. And we go to the 4th inning. It's still 3-1, and the Red Sox probably going to rue not scoring there. So Nipper comes back out, hoping he was going to get some run support, but he did not. And he's going to be facing Mel Hall, Brooke Jacoby, and Pat Tabler. I'm sorry, and Corey Snyder. Hall, Jacoby, and Snyder. That's a 5-9, and that's a fly to left field for Hall. 1 away. Jim Rice is there. And now that makes, 4. That's 9 in a row retired by Nipper. He's retired 9 in a row. And that'll bring up Jacoby. 1-2, and that's a hit by pitch. So there goes that streak. He plunks Jacoby. Jacoby no threat to run. Brings up Corey Snyder. 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast for Corey Snyder. He's got normal power. It's a 1-10. This time, Double Die lets him down. Got a big number, 12. So it's just a deep fly to left, and Rice will field it on the warning track in front of the Green Monster. 2 down, and here comes Tony Bernazard. Four nine, switch hitter batting left. That's a pop up to Buckner at first, and that's going to end the inning. So Nipper got away with one there, and Snyder just missed it. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It is still 3-1 in favor of Cleveland. Swindell will be facing bottom portion of the order. Sullivan, Owen, and then Burks. Sullivan strikeout his first time. 3-4. This time it's a ballpark blast. 1-10. That's a 9. It's gone. Mark Sullivan hits his second home run of the season. He had 2 real world. He had 2 homers and 10 runs batted in real world for the whole season. That's his second home run and his 10th run batted in right there. So Mark Sullivan just cuts the lead to 1 with his second home run, courtesy of Fenway Park again. And we're down to a 3-2 ball game. Here's Spike Owen. 4-9, switch hitter batting right. That's a 1-10 double. That will be a double for Spike Owen. Back come the Red Sox looking to tie the game or take the lead. Still nobody out. Here's Ellis Burks. Burks is 0 for 1 with a walk. Hey, Scooney. Hello, Chuck. 3-10 against the lefty is a ballpark single check, and it's a 1-15, so you know it's going to be a base hit. Owen will stop at third, so runners are at the corners. Still nobody out. And now Swindell's got to perform a little bit more magic. To get the lead, Burks needs a 5 or a 6. He does not obtain the lead, so he will hold. Here's Marty Barrett. Infield is back for the double play. They need outs in the worst way. They have nobody out now, so they'll give it the tie and run so they can at least get an out, get a couple outs. 3-8, and that's a single. There's a omega here for anti-clutch, but there's nobody out, so the single is good. Single 2 stars, and we got a tie game, but the Red Sox are looking for more. Marty Barrett, RBI single. Going to third base is Burks. Still nobody out. 3-3 ball game now for Wade Boggs. Barrett needs a 4 to get the good lead. Does not get it. So here is Wade Boggs. Infield still playing back for double play. They got to get outs. 2-8. And they get the double play. Ground ball, shortstop A. It's a 6-4-3 double play. The go-ahead run for Boston will score to make it a 4-3 game, but they do get the 2 outs as they get Boggs to hit into the twin killing. Now it's 2 outs, base is clear for Jim Rice. Red Sox lead it now 4-3. 6-4. That's a ballpark single check. 1-15, but that's a 19, so they got a break there. That'll be a ground ball to second to end the inning. But a 3 spot for Boston, and it's a 4-3 lead. They've come all the way back from 3-0 down to take a 4-3 lead. But this is Fenway Park, and that's Al Nipper, so that you got to figure this lead will not be safe, not whatsoever. So top of the 5th, and Rick Dempsey, your batter. 1-9, he will ground it to third. Wade Boggs is right there, 1 away. Flips the order back to Brett Butler, the leadoff man. Butler is 1 for 3, a stolen base and a run scored. 1 for 2, stolen base and a run scored. 4-12, make him 1 for 3. It's a ground ball, first base C. Buckner will field it, flip to Nipper. 2 down. And that brings up Julio Franco. 3-6, and that's a base on balls. believe that's the first walk issued by Nipper. He hit a batter, but that's the first base on balls. And Franco, we looking to run 2 through 5 to get that lead. And he gets the lead, so he's going to go. He's a 19, being held as a 17. Plus 4 is a 21. Well, actually 19, the highest you can have. And they'll throw through anyway. And that's going to be safe. Stolen base for Franco. So he's in scoring position for Pat Tabler with 2 outs. It's a clutch situation again. Tabler in the clutch is neutral. I know traditionally he has had a propensity to do well with the bases loaded. Not sure about clutch, but we'll see. 2-4, and that's a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. So Nipper pitches out of that as well. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's still 4-3 Boston. Swindell coming back out. He has a fatigue of 7, so he's still good to go as long as he's effective. Here's Don Baylor. And Baylor, let's see here. No, it should be Carter. No, what am I doing? I'm looking at the Cleveland lineup. Carter leads off the next inning. This is Baylor. Baylor, Buckner, and Hickson. That's a 2-5, and that's a pop out to short. Franco. 1 away. And that'll send up Billy Buck. 0 for 2. Popped out and lined out. 3-9. He's going to ground out to Bernazard. Second base, 2 down. And that'll send us to Hindu, Dave Henderson. 3-9, and he's going to strike out. That is for Swindell, strikeout number 5. So a much better inning for Swindell. We completed 5 innings here at Fenway, and it's 4-3 Boston. They won the real world game 6-5. So we're kind of on pace for that right now. And Joe Carter will lead us off. He had a big 3-run homer in the first and then struck out in the third. 4-10, and that's a fly to left field. Jim Rice is right there. This is the fatigue inning for Nipper. He's the number 6. So keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't get fatigued. He retires Carter, and that brings up Mel Hall. 5-8, left-handed. That's a fly to center. Ellis Burks puts it away, 2 down. So Nipper seems to be on cruise control. I mean, since that 3-run homer, he hasn't given up anything since the first inning. No hits at all. He given up a walk and hit a batter, but no hits have been allowed since the first inning. 2-7, and as soon as I say that, of course, he gets a base hit. So Jacoby gets a 2-out single, and that brings up Corey Snyder. Nipper to Snyder. 5-10, and that's a ballpark blast. 1-10, that's a 5. It's gone. So the innocent 2-out single kept the inning going, and Corey Snyder deposits a 2-run home run courtesy of Fenway Park. Look at it again, 5-10, right-handed, ballpark blast. He's got normal power. It's 1-10, and that's a 5. Double die shows up again. Corey Snyder, a 2-run home run, and Cleveland has taken the lead. They've reclaimed the lead now, 5-4. For Snyder, that is home run number 7, RBIs 21 and 22 on the replay. And Cleveland has grabbed a 5-4 lead, 2-out magic coming from Cleveland. There's Bernazard. That's a 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast. Bernazard, normal power. He's a lefty, so it's a 1-7. That's a 5. It's still good enough. Bernazard is going to go deep. Back-to-back jacks. Courtesy of Fenway Park. Look at it again. 5-11. Right here. Ballpark blast. Bernazard against righties is normal. 1-7. Double dies a 5. Another home run. This one for Bernazard. His 7th of the season also with RBI number 26. And now Cleveland leads it 6-4, and now Al Nipper is officially tired from giving up these runs, but they're going to see if he can finish the inning against weak-hitting Rick Dempsey. That's a 6-9, and that's not going to do it. That's going to be a double for Rick Dempsey. And I believe that's going to be it for Al Nipper. They can't go on any longer with Al Nipper. So Nipper will be done. 5 2/3 innings given up for Nipper. You know, just to be lazy, I'll go to the computer box score and get all his totals. 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs that are all earned, but he is responsible also for Dempsey. 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. And he hit a bat. So the Red Sox will go to their bullpen for a left-hander. And I believe it will be Joe Sambito because they used Bolton last time. So let's double check it here. Bolton is actually showing tired from recent usage. So they will go to Joe Sambito. He's not tired at all. So Joe Sambito, a left-hander, will be coming on for the Red Sox. He was 2-6 with a 6.93 ERA real world. See what he's doing on the replay. He's 0-2 with 2 saves, a 7.07 earned run average, 14 innings pitched, 19 hits, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts. So he'll be on to face the lefty Brett Butler. Lefty on lefty matchup. And this might be the only guy they ask him to face. It might be just a one-time deal to get him to get that left-hander out. We shall see. Hello, Philip. So Sambito trying to get out of the inning. 3 runs are already in. They don't want any more. It's 2-8 for Butler, and that's a single to left field, but it's an anti-clutch. So he will lose the hit. He's a single, but the Omega symbol's right here. Dempsey's at second with 2 outs, so that qualifies as a clutch at bat. So that will turn into a pop out to second base as he loses the hit on the anti-clutch. And Sambito gets a break on the anti-clutch. So that's going to do it for Sambito. He was there just to face the one batter. He did his job. 1 batter, 1 out. But they will bring in right-hander because Cleveland has all these right-handers coming up. So they will bring in a right-hander to pitch the 7th inning. So Swindell now has been given new life. He's been given a lead of 6-4 to protect. And we'll look at Sullivan, Owen, and Burks due up. Sullivan actually homered on the ballpark. Fenway Park's been giving a lot of home runs in this game and singles to boot. 4-7, and that's a ground ball. Second base X. We're looking at Bernazard. 4E22 for Bernazard. 4-10 should get to that, you would assume. 4 and a 10 is a G3. That's good enough. That's a total of 9, and he is an E22. There is no 9 there, so Bernazard will make the play and retire Sullivan 1 away. And that'll send up Spike Owen. He scored his last time up. 4-10, switcher being right-handed. That's an in-home run chance, 1-19, but he has weak power. So it'll just be a single for Spike Owen. Single for Owen. And let's see, they're down 6-4. It's a minus. Now, he wouldn't have a good chance if he tried to steal. The odds would not be in his favor. So they'll hold him there. He will be held on, but he won't go anywhere. Here's Ellis Burks. 3-3 to the lefty is a fly ball to right field. And that's hauled in by Snyder, 2 away. And that'll leave it up to Marty Barrett. He is 3 for 3, all 3 singles. 3-10, 1-11 single. That's a 6. He's going to go 4 for 4 with all singles. It's only a 1 star, but it does bring Wade Boggs to the plate with runners in scoring position. So Wade Boggs a chance to tie this game or potentially put the Red Sox in the lead. In the clutch, though, he loses 2 hits, 1-8 and 1-10, turn into outs. So he's a little bit anti-clutch in that aspect. We get a 3-5, however, and he singles 2 stars. So Wade Boggs comes through with the base hit. Scoring is Spike Owen. Going to third is Barrett, and the lead is cut to 6-5. which ironically was the score in the real game, just reversed. It was Boston 6, Cleveland 5. Now we got Cleveland 6, Boston 5. But we still got innings to go. This could be a 10-9 game the way this is going. All right, so 2 outs in the clutch for Jim Rice. He will gain it. He will lose a hit actually on 212. That's his only rating, and also on 3-6. He loses 2 hits there. So he's a little bit anti-clutch also. It's a 5-9, and that's a strikeout for Swindell, and that will end the inning. Strikeout number 6. So the run comes in. It's now a 6-5 ball game as we go to the 7th inning, and the Red Sox will need a new pitcher. And we'll see who they've got that is the most rested. Could be Crawford. It could be Gardner. They're going to go to Wes Gardner. He's a little bit more rested than Crawford is. So Wes Gardner will be on for the Red Sox. Gardner, real world, was 3-6 with a 5.42 ERA. On the replays, 1-0 with a save, but an ERA of 6.67. 27 innings pitched, 35 hits, 13 walks, 22 strikeouts. And he'll be facing Julio Franco, Pat Tabler, and Joe Carter to start the top of the 7th. Gardner's also a -5 on the hold, so that's going to keep any base runners close to their base. It's a 1-9, and that's going to be a single for Julio Franco. Julio Franco still going to get the lead. He's not deterred by that -5. He's going to attempt for the lead. 7, he does not get the lead, so he will be held right there. And that'll send up Pat Tabler. 0 for 3 for Tabler, 6-10. And that's an in-home run shot right off Gardner's card. But he has weak power against righties. Normal against lefties, weak against righties. So it'll be a single 2 stars. But Gardner right there, that's a bad spot on his card. That 6-10 is an in-home run. And so, fortunately for him, Tabler was weak against righties as far as power goes. Now, runners are on the corners. Gardner's having some rough time of it here. And that brings up Joe Carter. That's a 2 chance of a balk or a pass ball. We're looking at a pass ball chance on Sullivan. His pass ball rating's a 14. So that gets by him. Sullivan lets the pass ball get by. The run will score on the pass ball, and Tabler will take second base. So a big pass ball there to produce another run. And now instead of having to worry about the infield in, they're just going to play normal now because the runner from third's already scored. It's now a 7-5 game. 2-6 for Carter, and that's a ground ball to short. 1 away. With Tabler holding at second base. 1 down for Mel Hall. 4-8, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. Spike Owen. 3E17. 3-12. He should get to that without any issues. 3-12 is a G2. That'll hold the runner again. That's 14, and he is an E17. E17, there's a 15, 16, and 17, but no 14. So Spike Owen does make the play and freezes the runner. 2 down for Brooke Jacoby. Clutch situation for Brooke Jacoby. In the clutch, he gains hits on 2-6 and 2-7. Loses hits on 2-6 and 2-7, and also on 3-5. So definitely anti-clutch. 6-3, however, is ground ball first base C, and that's one where Buckner will flip it to Gardner covering. But the pass ball produces another run. And we go to the 7th inning stretch with the score: Cleveland 7 and Boston 5. And this is the fatigue inning for Greg Swindell. Keep an eye on him. It'll be Baylor, Buckner, and Henderson due up, although they may pinch hit for Buckner because we're in the 7th inning now. The pitch hitting is fair game. 5, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. See, Buckner faced left-handers 25. But I got to believe they would try to get something started. Might want to turn to Dwight Evans in pin. It looks like he would be playing first base in the 8th inning. So Evans pinch hitting in the 7th, first base in the 8th. Dewey Evans. Like I said, he hasn't been playing. He's on the roster, so I'm not sure if he just can't play the field, but he's not doing the DHing either, so I'm not really not sure. But he's on the roster, so I'm going to use him because I don't know the history. If he's on the roster, to me, he's fair game to be used. All right, so it's Dewey Evans on the replay, hitting .331, 630 driven in, hit .305 real world. That's a 1-7, and that's 1 home run, 2 to 20 is a double. So that's a pinch hit double for Dwight Evans. Evans is aboard with a double. 1 out double for Evans. Dave Henderson. Henderson is the tying run at the plate. 1-9. That is a 1-4 double. But that's an 18, so he flies to center. Boy, he just got around, sandwiched between 2 ballpark blasts. It would have been a home run anyway because of the 18, but that's how close he came. So it's a fly out to center field. Number 2, and that brings up Sullivan, but they won't let Sullivan hit, I don't believe. Or will they? He hit a home run. Yeah, they're going to let him hit a home run last time up, so they're going to give him a shot. They really don't have a whole lot left on the bench that's right-handed, so almost kind of stuck with Sullivan here. I don't know, though. Let me take a look. We might pinch hit here. They do have Ed Romero. He's a decent hitter, so they're going to pinch hit for Sullivan with Ed Romero. He's a .272 hitter, and Rich Gedman will come in and catch. McNamara got all the stops here. So Romero will pinch hit here in the 7th, and then Gedman will catch in the 8th. So Ed Romero will bring him on the computer and get his numbers with a runner at second base, 1 out, runner being Dwight Evans. Romero on the replay. Weight average, no homers, 9 driven in. He hit .272 real world. One 8 against the left. He's going to ground short. That's 2 away. So Romero is done there, and here's going. Spike going 2 for 3 in a clutch situation right here with the score 7-5. Or was that the third? No, that wasn't the third. That was the third out. Never mind. I don't know why the computer was telling me it was third out. It was a third out. It's missed third out, obviously, because we were in a clutch situation. So that was the third out, and that'll do it. And now we go to the computer to bring in Gedman to catch. Batting in the number 8 position. And Evans. Actually, what they're going to do, changed our mind here. Romero will stay in the play third base. Wade Boggs will switch from third base to first base. And the catcher, in this case Gedman, will bat in Evans' spot, which is number 6 in the order. All right, so Gedman is going to bat right here as the catcher. Boggs is going to. Romero stays in the game, play third base. So Evans is not going to play first base. I'm going to assume he's injured and they don't really want him in the field, so I'll kind of play it both ways, I guess. So Romero's at third base, and he is batting in the number 8 position for Sully. So Romero's in the number 8 position. All right, so that's where we stand. As we go to the top of the 8th, Romero, pretty good fielder for third base, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 3.8, so he's a pretty good fielder at third base, 3.E8. That's better than what Boggs is, 2.E16. But at first base, Boggs is, let's see what Boggs is at first base, 4.E25. It's not that great, but what are you going to do? So now let me make sure I got my order straight. Romero's going to bat in that position. Gedman's going to hit where Buckner was, behind Baylor. All right, so now I've got everybody where they're supposed to be. Don't make sure I don't have anybody out of order. And now we're ready for the top of the 8th. Corey Snyder will lead it off. He homered his last time up. That's 311, and that's a ballpark single check. It's 1-15. That's a base hit for Corey Snyder. And for Cleveland, in this ball game, that's base hit number 11. Boston has 25 total hits in this game and 12 runs. A lot of that courtesy of Fenway Park. Those ballpark results have been very friendly. Here's Bernazard. 110 for Bernazard, and that is a single. It's anti-clutch, but there aren't 2 outs and nobody's in scoring position, so the single is going to stand. Runners are now at first and second with nobody out for Rick Dempsey, and he's in a situation where he's going to bunt, and the infield will be in the corners to expect it. So it makes him a C bunter. Dempsey's a C bunter. For the bunt, go to our bunt chart as a C bunter. The bunt will be fielded. 1 says it's fielded by the pitcher, so this is going to go right to Gardner in the C category. That's a 9. That's a 1 ball and 2 strike count. So we're going to bunt again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This time the 4 says it's going to first base. So it's going to Boggs, the new first baseman. And that's a 6. That's defense. So defense says batter drops on a bunt, and defense has the option of throwing the batter out at first or trying to throw out the lead runner. All right, so the lead runner in this case is Snyder. He runs at a 12. So it says 12, running speed -4, when it makes that 12 to an 8, plus fielder defensive rating, which makes it a 12, because Boggs is a 4. So that'd make it a 12. So 1 to 12 would be the safe range. Do they try for the lead runner, or do they go ahead and accept the sacrifice? I think down by 2, you got to try for that. It's only a 60% chance of being safe. So they're going to hope for a high D20 roll. They're going to throw to third base for the Boggs is going to throw it to third for the force on Snyder if he can get it. 1 to 13, he is out. I'm sorry, 13 to 20, he's out. 1 to 12, bases are loaded. And the bases are loaded. It's a fielder's choice, and everybody's safe. But they took the gamble, and it just didn't pay off for them. So everybody's safe. And now Brett Butler, your batter, against Gardner. Infield now in for the double. They can't afford to create a run for outs. They got to cut it off right here and now. So their infield is in. 2-8. That's a single to center field. There's anti-clutch, but there aren't any outs. So the single's going to be good. Single to center. It's going to score Snyder. Bernazard, the trail runner, was not being held, makes him a 16. Burks' arm's a 0. They're going to throw through. Dempsey cannot take the extra base because he's only a 10. So they're going to throw to the plate to get Bernazard. 1-16, he's safe. And he's in there. So it's a 2-run single for Brett Butler. And the Tribe have kind of blown this game open. And Gardner is now tired. It's now a Dolly Parton 9-5 game. And the Red Sox will have to go to the bullpen. Bolton is a little fatigued. You'd like to have Bolton out there, but they will go instead to Steve Crawford. Right-hander Steve Crawford. And he was 5-4 with a 5.33 ERA real world. Kind of had to expect a high-scoring game here at Fenway Park with some questionable pitching. So this is not unexpected whatsoever. Especially getting the Boston bullpen, you're really asking for trouble. Crawford on the replay is 2-3 with 2 saves and ERA of an even 4. 27 innings pitched, 29 hits, 14 walks, 20 strikeouts. So Butler is up. There's still nobody out. Runners at first and second. Franco, your batter. Normally it'd be a good time to bunt, but he's a D bunter, so we're not going to have him bunt, obviously. Crawford's a -4, but I don't think in this situation that even matters. 1-4 for Franco, and that is a walk. It's going to load the bases. Still nobody out. Bases loaded, still nobody out for Pat Tabler. And Mr. Bases Loaded, we talked about this earlier. He was known as Mr. Bases Loaded. He had a huge average in real world with the bases loaded. He was known for that. He's up here now. That's a 1-4. It's a ballpark single. 1-15. That's a base hit. The run's going to score. Everybody moves up 90 feet, and this is getting ugly. It's 10-5. And John McNamara has no answers from the Red Sox dugout. He just puts guys out there, but they all stink. So you got to live with it. Here's Joe Carter. There's still nobody out. Here's Joe Carter. 4-7, and that's a ground ball, second base X. The infield was in. Second base X. That is Barrett. He's a 2E11. That's an 18. 2 and an 18 is a G1. So we'll do and make sure there's no error. That's a 9. And he is an E15 or E11. E11, there is no 9. G1, 2 and 18 is a G1. G1, bases loaded, infield in. It's a double play, 2-3. So the double play is going to go 2-3. So it's going to be a 4-2-3 double play. 4-2 and then back 2-3 for the double play. I'm sorry, 4-2 should be here. Runner on third is out, not the runner. Tabler. Tabler goes to second base. So Tabler goes to second base. And going to third base is Franco. But to get the double play, and it's going to go 4-2-3. So 2 outs, runners at second and third now for Mel Hall. Hall is 1 for 4. 5-5, and that's a walk. It's going to load the bases. So now the 9th man to bat in the inning, Brooke Jacoby, steps to the plate. Corey Snyder's on deck. He led off this inning with a single, but he's on deck. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Crawford. 6-7, and that's trouble. 1-4 is a double. 5-20 is a single. It's a single, 2 stars, and the Tribe will end up batting around as 2 more runs come across the plate. Going to third is Hall, and the 8th inning will continue into the next column. 2-run single. That is a 5 spot now for Cleveland this inning. They now lead it 12-5. And Corey Snyder, your batter. .37 for Snyder, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. So Corey Snyder strikes out. But a 5-run inning for the Tribe, and we'll get these final numbers, gory numbers on Gardner. Crawford's going to still be in the game. Let's see here. Let's go to the computer, and I'll let the computer do the hard work for me, the heavy lifting. So we go to the box score and get these gory details of how not to come out of the bullpen. Gardner's going to go 1 inning, give up 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 were earned. No walks, no strikeouts. And Crawford's pitched 1 inning, but he's going to come back and pitch a 2nd inning. And it's just not good. Swindell has scattered 14 hits over 7 innings, so I think we're going to cap him at the 7-inning mark. 14 hits, 5 runs. He certainly did not pitch well enough to win, but he got the run support. So what can you say about that? So Swindell is done, and the Tribe will go to Mark Huseman out of the bullpen to finish the last 2 innings. Mark Huseman. He came over in a trade from Kansas City earlier in the season. In the real world season, he was 2-3 with a 5.04 ERA. So Mark Huseman will be on to face Spike Owen, Ellis Burks, and Marty Barrett. Hello, Midlife. Good to see you. And there's not much Boston can do as far as pinch hitting and whatnot, because only people left on the bench for Boston are Mike Greenwell and Glenn Hoffman. I mean, you could pinch hit Greenwell for Owen and then have Hoffman play short, I suppose. But Owen's 2 for 3 with a double and a single and 2 runs scored, so we're going to leave Owen in the game. But coming in is going to be Mark Huseman, and we'll get his numbers on the replay. He's 0-4 with no saves and a 7.33 earned run average. 23 innings pitched, 30 hits, 7 walks, 25 strikeouts. So he's not exactly stellar, but he's got a 12-5 lead to play with. So here's Spike Owen, 1-4. That's a ground ball right back to Huseman, and there's 1 away. 1 down for Ellis Burks. .37 for Burks. He's going to ground it to short. So Huseman, whoops, up here. Huseman is doing very well for himself. Somehow I got up into this, and I don't know why I did that. That shouldn't be there. Okay. 2 up, 2 down, and that's going to bring up Marty Barrett. Fenway faithful kind of lost their faithfulness, I think. 3-7 is a walk to Barrett. That's going to keep the inning going. 4, Wade Boggs. And Boggs. So Barrett's got a perfect day. He's 4 for 4 with 4 singles and a walk, but hasn't helped the cause because of the pitching. Here's Wade Boggs. He's 3 for 4. 4-9, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. That's going to end the inning. So we go to the 9th. Still 12-5 Cleveland. Crawford back out, and he will be facing Bernazard, Dempsey, and Butler, 2 up. Here in the top of the 9th. 4-9, switch hitter is a fly to center. That's 1 away. So Cleveland with the win will go to 19-26. Boston would drop to 17-27. Here is Dempsey, 6'3", right-handed, is a ballpark single check. 1-15, and that's a base hit for Dempsey. You know you're going good when Dempsey gets 2 hits in 1 game for you. You know things are going your way. And that combined now is the 30th hit of the ball game. 16 by Cleveland, 14 by Boston. So 30 hits already in this game to go with 17 runs. And that's directly responsible. Fenway Park is directly responsible for that. Here's Brett Butler. That's a 5-7. And that's a 1-15 single. That's a base hit. So hit number 31 in this game. And that'll bring up Julio Franco. 4-5, and that's going to be a fly to center field for out number 2. 2 down. And that sends it to... No, Joe, I'm not. No, I've just got other things going on right now. So Demolition League is not... In fact, I got a Demolition League game tonight. So Toronto and Kansas City tonight around 9 o'clock. All right, here's Pat Tabler. 4-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. That'll be Wade Boggs. I'm sorry, no, not Wade Boggs. That will be Romero, because remember, we switched him off there. So Romero at third base, his rating is a 3E8. So 3-9 should get to that. And he does. 3-9 is G3. It's all he needs. That's a 12, and he's an E8. There's no 12 there, so it's good play for Romero. And that will end the inning. So Crawford is done. Crawford is going to end up going 2 innings. And we'll get the numbers on Crawford on the computer because I want to be lazy and let the computer do it for me. And of course, Huseman will just finish out the game in mop-up duty. So Mr. Crawford is going to go 2 innings, give up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. So the final total for Cleveland, 12 runs and 17 hits. No errors, but they still can commit errors. I'll leave that blank. Boston committed 1 error. I know they can't commit any more, so we can put that in. And now, bottom of the 9th we go. It'll be Jim Rice, Don Baylor, and Rich Gedman with his first at bat, because Gedman's hitting in that spot formerly held by Buckner. So here is Jim Rice. That's going to be a ground ball to second. Oops, 1 away. Ground ball to second. 1 down for Don Baylor. That's a 1-7, and he strikes out. 2 down for Rich Gedman. That's a 4-3. That's a ground ball first base X. Joe Carter, 3E24. 3-14, he'll get to it. E24 and a 13. E24 and a 13 is going to be an error on Joe Carter, so he boots it. Joe Carter, that's the first error. Keeps the ball game going for 1 more batter for Dave Henderson. That's a 4-3. Ground ball first base X. Joe Carter gets another chance. 3-20, he'll get to it. That's a 7. 7, and then he's an E24. E24, there is no 7 this time, so Joe Carter will field it, flip to Huseman covering, and there is your ball game. 12-5, the final score. Mark Huseman's going to go 2 innings. Well, in fact, we'll go ahead and finish it up on the computer and get the grand totals on everything and get you ready for tomorrow's game. So Huseman's going to go 2 innings, give up nothing, a walk and a strikeout, no hits, no runs. So final line score, 12 runs, 17 hits, and 1 error for Cleveland. 5 runs, 14 hits, and 1 error for Boston. Losing pitcher Al Nipper drops to 4-5. Swindell evens his record to 4-4 with the win. Player of the game, I'm not sure who you give that to. Butler was 3 for 6. So he's a good candidate. Carter did hit the 3-run homer in the first, but he didn't do anything after that. Plus, he made an error. So there's all kinds of guys you can give it to. So team effort. I'll just say it's team effort, I think. So, all right. So we go to the next game on the schedule. It's only 4 games scheduled for this state. This was one of them. Next game on the schedule. Next game on the schedule, we will be at Comiskey Park in Chicago. It'll be the Kansas City Royals. Danny Jackson, a left-hander for Kansas City, against Bill Long, a right-hander for the White Sox. So Kansas City and the White Sox are the next game. That'll be tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock. And it's a pretty important game in the standings as we look at the AL West standings. Kansas City is in second place behind Oakland with a record of 21-20. Chicago's right on their tail, 2.5 back with a record of 20-20. So battle for second place. The winner will take sole possession of second place after that game. So that'll be the game for tomorrow. And then tomorrow night will be game 1 in season ticket baseball of the 1978 World Series after we finish the 1978 NBC game of the week. But tonight will be game 41 of the Demolition League, and that will be Kansas City and Toronto. From Kansas City for Toronto against Michael Wacha for Kansas City. I don't have the lineups filled in yet because I got to do the rest rolls and everything else. It should be game 40, not game 41, but I accidentally played one game of the Dodger-Yankee series out of order. So this is technically game 41, but it is the final game where every team finally gets to play 8 games. It should be game 40. I already played the Dodgers and the Yankees their 9th game. I accidentally playing it out of order. So this will be game 41 from Kansas City, and that'll be tonight, 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. Probably 8:30. It could be anywhere between 8:30 and 9. I'm not sure. So that'll finish off where every team has at least 8 games in the Demolition League. Then the Demolition League will step aside for about a week as I want to focus and play the 1978 World Series at nighttime in the season ticket game. I'm not sure if they had day games in the 1978 World Series. I know one of the World Series they went all night games at some point, but I don't know when that was. But the first game of the 1978 World Series was on a Tuesday night. So tomorrow night, that will be game 1. And then Wednesday night will be game 2. Thursday night would normally be a travel night, picking it up again on Friday. But since I have high school football on Friday, we're going to push that up a date, a 1 game, and play game 3 on Thursday night. And then take off on Friday and come back Saturday and Sunday and 5. So that's the way I'm going to try to plan that. And then next week, we'll be back on the Demolition League as each team gets to play their 9th game of the season after that. But tonight, Toronto and Kansas City, Demolition League. Both teams are 4-3, trying to catch the first place Twins. And that'll be tonight. Kikuchi, the lefty, against Wacha, the righty. So hope you enjoyed this presentation of the 1987 Stratomatic replay. Wasn't a close game, unfortunately, as Cleveland took it to Boston pretty heavily by the score of 12-5. And again, tomorrow morning we'll be in Chicago, Kansas City against Chicago in 1987 replay. So that's going to do it from here. Let's see what you're asking here, Dr. D. On a ballpark single, I don't know what ground ball 4C means. A ballpark single means a 1 base advancement. You cannot advance any further on a ballpark single. Everybody gets 1 base and that's it. No matter what the ballpark single is, it's a 1-star advancement and that's the end of the story. You don't, unless you want to make a homebrew. I mean, I'm just talking about by the rules. It's always 1 asterisk. That's it. No matter what the type of thing it is, it's 1 asterisk and that is it. So that's all they get. Oh, I'm saying if you don't get the single, it's a ground ball C. Well, then the runner's out, and that's it. The runner on second would go to third, and that's it. He can't try for the plate. He gets the one base advancement to third, and that is it. Like I said, unless you want to homebrew something, but I'm just talking about by the rules. If you're going technically by the rules, that would be it. All right, so Cleveland Boston in the books, and that was game number 298. So tomorrow morning will be game number 299, which means Wednesday morning will be a nice little game 300, a nice benchmark to get to. But game 299 will be tomorrow in this 1987 replay, and will be at Comiskey Park for the game between Kansas City and Chicago. The second of 4 games played on May the 26th. Kansas City and Chicago. And it'll be Danny Jackson for the Royals against Bill Long for the White Sox. So Kansas City will come to the game 21-20. Chicago will come in with an even 500 record, 20-20. That's as far as I'll take it today. I'll finish the rest of this before tomorrow morning, but that's what's coming up tomorrow morning is Kansas City and Chicago. What's coming up tonight, Toronto and Kansas City, from Kansas City, and the Demolition League. So that's what to look forward to the next couple of days. And then tomorrow night, of course, starts the 1978 World Series in season ticket baseball. So again, thank you all for keeping me company on this Monday morning as we get through this 1987 replay slowly but surely, taking our time and enjoying the ride. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.